So a short while ago, I bought this thing called the SlackRack, and I bought it because as a physical therapist, I'm highly interested in all things movement, along with ways to preserve our physicality and longevity. And if I can make the process fun to do so for myself or for my patients that I work with, then that's even better. And since this channel is all about injury prevention and injury rehabilitation, I thought it might be fun to pick one up and try it for myself and pass on my findings to you. And there's certainly been a few things that I've learned. So balance is one of those things we tend to take for granted until we start to lose it. The problem is that when I work on my own balance, I would say that balance training for me isn't all that exciting. And I should quickly mention here that our body produces balance through different systems. And for the sake of this video, I'm simply lumping all of these systems together when talking about balance. So the SlackRack that I picked up is by a company called Gibbon. And don't worry, this video is not sponsored by them. It's sponsored by my wallet because I picked this thing up used on Facebook Marketplace with my own money. Now, Gibbon doesn't even know that I exist. And if you want to thank my wallet for taking the hit, or if you appreciate that I'm a solo content creating physical therapist who isn't generating AI slop, but rather sharing his passion with the world, then feel free to hit the like button. And of course, you can subscribe if you want to stay up to speed on the geeky rehab things that I'm uploading here on this channel. So what is a slackline? Well, if you're not familiar with slacklines, all you really need to know is that they're often used for entertainment and general physical activity. They're often rigged up around trees or posts somewhere outdoors, such as a park. But you can also get standalone racks if the outdoors just doesn't work for you, or if you have no post to secure a slackline to. And the latter is what I've opted for, which is known as a slack rack. And while entertainment and physical activity is super awesome, I found myself wondering if you can also utilize them in ways to challenge and perhaps improve various aspects of physiologic functioning within the body, such as enhancing aspects that help us to maintain balance, such as neuromuscular control and proprioception, and foot and ankle stability, and so on. Essentially, I found myself wondering if they could be useful for improving one's functional abilities for everyday life, especially since they looked like they could be quite fun to use. So why was I interested in all this? Well, on this channel, I'm always looking at these sorts of things from an injury rehabilitation or prehabilitation scenario. And when it comes to using slacklines, what I found myself wondering was whether or not they could provide benefits that cross over to real world tasks. If so, perhaps then I could also get my patients to start using them for various aspects of their rehabilitation. So as I always do with these things, I started by doing a very quick scan of the literature to see what has been found about the ability for slackline training to enhance our balancing abilities. And by this, the question I was specifically asking is, can practicing balancing on a slackline improve our balance when we're not on a slackline? In other words, can practicing on them help us in real world scenarios within everyday life? Basically, I was asking a question of transference. So the first thing I did was look to see what the research says. And from my rather quick glance, there didn't seem to be a ton out there on this specific topic. From what I did find, the results seem to be a bit mixed. Some studies have found that there can be benefits, but other studies have suggested not so much. And while I was disappointed based on some of the limited evidence that seems to be out there, that's not the whole story, at least for me. This is where it gets interesting. Limited amounts of studies and study methodology aside, I found that the more time I spent trying different tasks and challenges on my SlackRack, the better I seemed to feel. And interestingly enough, throughout my research on this whole slackline balancing subject, I came across a Reddit thread with a user wondering the same question I had about slacklines improving balance in real world scenarios. And multiple people in that thread were mentioning what I found for myself as well, that anecdotally, they tended to feel much better when practicing on them and felt it was helpful for their everyday balancing abilities. Again, this was all anecdotal, but it matched not only with what I was feeling, but with all these other individuals were feeling as well. And after using mine for some time now, I can honestly say that I feel the same way. This thing is just super fun to use. I found myself repeatedly losing track of time as I'd get super immersed in the balancing tasks that I was initially only planning on practicing for a couple of minutes at a time. And I certainly don't think all is lost with the benefits. While the research might be a bit limited right now and might suggest that slacklines have limited crossover to improving real-world balancing tasks, it would stand to reason that practicing some form of balance training is certainly better than nothing at all. And if it's fun, then we're likely to keep practicing it more and more. And for all I know, there will be more research out there done that one day reveals some new findings. And all of this video so far hasn't even talked about the potential benefits of slacklines helping to potentially strengthen the muscles of our feet and ankles. Now, when you practice balancing on a slackline, you'll be using the muscles in your feet and lower legs in ways that they're not used to working, especially if you're going barefoot on the slackline. So it may just be that, again, for the right individuals, balancing on a slackline could be another solid intervention for regaining foot and ankle strength after an injury. And just so we're clear, the physical strength of your feet and ankles is indeed one of the ways in which your body achieves balance. because the less foot and ankle strength you have, the greater the likelihood of your loss of balance. But in the interest of your time, I'll refrain from geeking out on this particular topic of feet and ankles and save all my thoughts on that for another video. Now, it should go without saying that slacklines or SlackRacks aren't for everyone, especially when working from a rehabilitation scenario. There are times when a rehabilitation professional may deem them appropriate or inappropriate based on the unique condition of an individual. But if you're an otherwise healthy individual who wants to give themselves a fun challenge, then you should be good to go. And real quick, I'll also mention that this SlackRack is great if you have space for it, but if you don't, you're not necessarily out of luck. Gibbon makes something called a Gibboard, which is this really cool looking mini SlackRack that affords you plenty of balancing opportunities. Now, I've never used one personally, and I was originally planning on picking one up, but then I came across the SlackRack on Marketplace, and since I have space for it, I went with that instead. So where does this all leave us? Well, for me, I'm definitely gonna keep using this thing because it's just super fun. And also because I don't like being defeated by simple little balancing tasks that I haven't yet mastered on it. So balance is important. Practice it one way or another, and if you need to, find a way to make it fun. And for me, I'll be doing that with my SlackRack. And with that being said, you know how it goes. Keep looking after yourselves, keep looking after one another, keep making great things happen, and I'll see you in the next video.